Now, I want to talk about why I've refunded it already. And there's a lot of disappointment with this game. So initially for me, it was just the usual scripted nonsense, just immersion breaking crap. So there's a scene at the start of the game where you go through a window and this guy, the guide of the game teaches you to melee. So you go through the window and this guy appears from just behind this cover, runs to you and tries to attack you with a melee. I can't remember quite how. Now, I died later after that incident, which meant I went back to the checkpoint just before that scene. And what happened is I thought, well, I'll just try and throw a grenade. So I bounced the grenade neatly off the opposite surface to where he is, and it rolled, and I could see, the projection, it rolling towards him. And it landed, I would say, pretty much exactly where his feet would be and blew up. And I thought, great, he's taken care of. And I went through the window, and wouldn't you know it, he just appeared anyway and charged me with his melee cutscene. So, that's the first scripted thing I noticed. Actually, no, it's not, because in the very start of the game, you're walking through a built-up area and you can't even raise your weapon. So you see your mates looking around, checking the buildings, aiming their guns, just scanning the area, making sure nobody's pointing a gun at them or anything. And, it's a bit of tension in the scene, so you kind of want to do the same. You're like, well, let's just make sure everything's clear. You don't know where you're going, and you can't. Your character's just holding your gun. All you can do is walk, and it annoys me that you can't have a kind of control over stuff and the order in which stuff happens. Now, that would be the first one. Now, the second one is not the grenade, but it's you walk up to a gate and you can't walk through the gate, even though it's partially open. There's no opening special tools that the guys have that you don't, and you can't walk through it before they do, and it's just annoying. If you want to do it, you go through first. You should be able to do that. It's just a immersion breaker, Okay, so before you even buy the game on console, you're probably going to be a bit pissed off because you've got to pay. I'm on Series S, one of the new Xboxes, and I had to pay in order to get, quote, next-gen graphics. I had to pay something like an extra, 5, 10, 15 quid. I can't quite remember, but, I actually think it was an extra 15 quid in the end, all said and done, because you can't get, a standard edition without paying, without getting all the extra crap, and hence it ends up an extra 15 quid. So this game, for me, was £64.99, just to get the one with next-gen graphics. And, the graphics aren't good, apart from the hair physics. Hair physics are crap. But, imagine you're on PC, right, and you've got all the hardware and stuff, and you're looking at the settings, and you go to crank it up at high, and then it says, oh, you need to pay an extra 15 quid for that, or an extra 5 quid. I mean, it could be anything, it could be 2 quid, it would just be outrageous, whatever it is. You shouldn't be charging people more for better graphics. It's just ridiculous. And it's not like there's extra technology. I got the digital edition. There's no, it's not like an ancient games console where it's got a cartridge with its own processor and storage and all that stuff in there. This isn't groundbreaking technology. It's just a server, Alright, so the other thing I like to do with COD campaigns is I like to play it on realism mode and, have everything off HUD-wise, which you can't do in this. You can play it realism and it's fun actually, and I like the feel of the guns. That part's great, but you can't turn off the HUD. So, I want to feel like, I'm there, and part of that is having to figure out how much ammo I might have in my gun, judging by the sounds, how long have I been firing, and when to reload. And on this, you can't turn it off. You also can't turn off the annoying compass at the top. And, I think they should have that. They had that in the last game. If you played on realism, as I am this time, or was this time, the HUD would disappear, and then you can just enjoy your game and get on with it. And, less HUD. Some people don't want the HUD. Why not allow them to have it? Especially if you're playing on realism. If you're playing on noob settings, I could understand it a bit, but, not even on realism, they won't let you turn it off. Now, the other things I want to talk about is what I view as just lazy development and just rushing this crap out the door. So the other gameplay I tried was the zombies mode, and that was just naff. It just looked, the whole map looked kind of like muggy and disgusting, and not in a good way. It just didn't need to look like that, and it didn't play well. The creatures don't look particularly. They look like a sort of halfway between Xbox One and Xbox 360. The way they're animated, I was quite unimpressed by that. Just the way they move, the way they look, is the whole thing. It just looks cheap. And this game is 120 gig. It's actually more. This game takes up more space than the entire Halo franchise. Well, not Halo franchise, but the FPS Halo games. I could download all of them, and they take up less space than this game. So clearly they haven't done a whole lot with compressing it. And I don't think they're particularly concerned, because I also had a sound bug during the zombies mode where I couldn't hear anything for the entire time. And I know my headphones were working, because when I unlocked an achievement, I'd hear the blip through the headphones, but nothing through the game. So, it just feels like rushed out crap. They don't care. They just threw it out there. If you said, this is a reskin or a DLC for, what was the last COD? Modern Warfare, wasn't it? I would probably believe that. I mean, it just doesn't impress me at all. I'm very disappointed, honestly. I really am. So, yes, I got a refund. I do not recommend you buy it. And if you do buy it, wait a while. Hopefully the bugs will be fixed and maybe it'll be worth it, but, probably won't be. Now, interestingly, during my reading on, because I put this refund request in for Microsoft, and they didn't have an option for how to refund it, because you don't like it. So I had to go down the route of game is not as advertised, and then I wrote in there, or I think it was first, game doesn't work properly, and then from there I could then input game is not as advertised in it, but something like this just isn't living up to my expectations, and then I put thank you for reading, because you're dealing with a human at the end of the day, and if you're just angry, maybe they just might not do it. Anyway, they came through almost immediately, and I really am grateful for that. But in the meantime, I had a look on the interwebs at if people had been successful in getting refunds, and I found an interesting thread of this person said something along the lines of, I'm not, I don't like any of the games on Game Pass, maybe I'm just depressed. And people were saying about how, yeah, they're probably depressed and they can't finish any games now, but I think, I don't mean to sound like a boomer, but a lot of games now are just crap. They are crap. I mean, really shit. That's the truth of it. They're just crap. Absolute rubbish. There are some really good games. I played Kingdom Come Deliverance a couple of years ago, and I might well replay that on the Xbox. That was on the PC, and my PC couldn't really keep up. But if they remaster it or whatever, or not remaster, but I just want higher frame rates on the next gen consoles, and I'd happily play it again. So there are good games. I mean, right now, the game my go-to online shooter is probably going to be Battlefield Bad Company 2. That's on Game Pass. It's also a very old game from the 360 days. But, I haven't really felt like a good multiplayer since then. A really great one that you can just play forever, that's the game. And, so many of these companies, they've just lost their way. They really have. It's just not fun anymore. All right, so that, I think, for now, sums up my gripes with Call of Duty Cold War. I do not recommend you buy it, and if you do, wait a while. And this to me has just been a lesson in maybe you should just wait and see what the gameplay footage looks like, because I am generally pretty good at being able to tell if I'm going to like a game from the gameplay footage. Now, there are good things I want to talk about with this game. So, 80s vibes, I love that. I like the characters initially. I haven't progressed very far, but, they just seem like manly men, the type that you would expect to find in these sort of positions in the 80s. And it's quite nice, actually, to see that. I like the gunplay, I do. The feel of the guns that something Battlefield Bad Company 2 doesn't have is the feel of the guns, the way it moves, and, it feels like you're actually shooting stuff, and it is satisfying. Well, that about sums that up, so I hope this helps you with your purchase decision.